Hey, it's Matt O'Leary, and it's finally time for my top 30 albums of 2015. I'm going to do 30 through 16 in this video, and then make a separate video for 15 through 1, just because 20-minute long videos are really difficult to watch. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel over the past year. I made my first review back in early January, so it's been about a year, and I've really enjoyed doing this. I've appreciated all the feedback. In 2016, I'd like to do more vinyl-related videos and just make a drastic improvement in my overall presentation and quality. Obviously, in this space right here, I'd like to get the album artwork at some point, but turns out I'm too lazy to Google it. Please let me know what I can do to improve these, what other types of videos you would like to see. If you would like to see my cat in it more often, whose fluffy tail just kind of, waves around in the picture every so often. Something I'd like to say before starting this countdown is about to Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. I listened to it, I thought it was a fascinating listen, but I really only listened to 3 or 4 hip-hop albums this year, so I felt it was kind of unfair to include it in this top list just because I feel like hip-hop and rap is a genre where comparing and contrasting is really important. It's also important to understand the references, like Tupac in that album, things I just don't really have a grip on because I have little background in it. As a reviewer, as a music listener and fan, I'm definitely more into rock, pop, jazz. I like melody, I like harmony and songwriting. So yeah, that's what I hope this list will reflect. If you think of it as a continuum between objective and subjective when it comes to any sort of art review, I like to think of this countdown and all my videos as sort of lying closer, of course, to the subjective. You can't have complete objectivity when it comes to these reviews. It's definitely my opinion and my personal experience and history and where and when I listen to these albums, how many times. All has to do with my interpretation of them. But I'd like to say that this video falls close to subjective, but still a little bit of objectivity where I'm considering how the album kind of contributes to the genre and this specific time period in music. So, for number 30, my favorite female vocal performance of the year, it's Painted Shut by Hop Along. Frances Quinlan's voice just oozes passion on this thing with an almost painful raspiness that sounds a lot like a John Coltrane saxophone solo when she really pushes it. This is a fairly straightforward, but like I said, well performed, well written alt-rock record you should definitely check out. My top songs are The Knock, Horseshoe Crabs, and Powerful Man. At number 29 is the album Batch by FORQ. That's F-O-R-Q. This is some top tier musicianship, instrumental, very jazz-centric, almost a supergroup. It's funky, it's bluesy. If you like really groovy jazz and rock instrumentation, also Michael League from Snarky Puppy, you have to stop everything you're doing and go listen. Beyond that, it's jazz fusion with sort of a Latin flavor as well. My top songs are Starchy, Mangata, and Stella. At number 28, it's some more jazz, but kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. This is more classic sounding, dinner date jazz sort of stuff. It's New Ansonia from Misha, Mullow, Abbado. Like I said, it mixes this really classic instrumentation with 60s hard bop sounds, some modern free jazz flair, all combining for a really easy listen, but a lot to explore. And Jacob Collier is on piano. I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right, but this is just definitely one of the most genius, brilliant young musicians out there. He's really known for his YouTube videos with kind of the multi-vocals, similar to that Star Wars guy, but way more talented. He can really just do it all. I think he's got an album coming out in 2016 as well. At number 27, it's a bright and brilliant Baroque rock record, How You Look When You're Falling Down by Birthmark. And I finally have some album art to show you. This is the vinyl. Really, I think this was my purchase of the year based on looks. I'm going to show you this actual vinyl because it's pretty incredible. First off, just really classy cover there. And the black and white going down. Let me show you this marble Rainbow splatter. Whew! That's good. That's good. I hope you can see that. All written by the fantastic musician Nate Kinsella. This one just has a ton of wacky musical ideas and a lot of attention to detail too, with specifically with the diverse instrumental palette. There's brass, there's strings, there's just a lot. All over the board, really. My favorite songs are the title track, and then also towards the end of the album, Suit of Armor, and A Violent and Confusing Reaction. At number 26, it's Panda Bear with Panda Bear Meets the Grim Reaper, and he comes out unscathed. I just find Noah Lennox's voice and completely unique and almost countercultural electronic looping style very hypnotic and undeniable. And a song called Shadow of the Colossus. That game was freaking awesome. My top songs for the Brian Wilson Sound-alike are Mr. Noah, Crosswords, and the very soft and harp-driven Tropic of Cancer. At number 25 is one of those albums that makes this whole music discovery process super rewarding and definitely worth it. It's a record I had to have. It's Ryley Walker's Primrose Green. On first glance, Ryley really has that shaggy-haired, hippie aesthetic. I mean, this cover looks exactly like it's out of the 60s, 70s folk movements. But you'll soon realize when listening to this thing that Ryley really has the musical chops to move him beyond just a cheap imitation. This is a great mix of Chicago jazz and finger-picking guitar style, very similar to Nick Drake. Definitely worth checking out. Look at young Ryley here, just, tending to the chickens. My only little complaint for this record, and probably the reason that it's not a little higher on this list, are the sometimes predictable vocal melodies. Really at times indistinguishable, but I don't think this is a peak for Ryley, and so I'm excited to see what he does next. My favorite songs are Primrose Green, Same Minds, and Love Can Be Cruel. Here we go, next record, number 24, and another album that I own. Chaz Bundick is a busy man. It's What For? By Toro Y Moi. With the resurgence of psychedelic and dream pop music, this is definitely the most vibrant and well-produced record I've heard within that genre. The guitars, the synths, the drum tones are all just lush, textured, and truly beautiful. And the composition is really excellent as well. Disco-infused bass lines and vocal hooks for days carry the melodies here. My top songs are the single Buffalo, The Flight, definitely one of the best bass lines I've heard this year, and then Spell It Out. And from ethereal to epic with number 23. It's the first metal album on this list. I reviewed it earlier this year. Didn't completely love it at that time, but it's really grown on me since then. It's Polaris by TesseracT. This is gent, prog metal from the UK, polyrhythms all over the place, and like before, they just have this way of making these awe-inspiring, massive, chill-inducing moments that no other band comes close to. At number 22, it's my favorite of the two releases from Jacco Gardner, Hypnophobia. I really like this poppier, more song-centric direction that he went on this album. It's just another great psychedelic pop record with more of a throwback sound. I thought this inside sleeve art was worth showing as well. Hard to get the details from here, but I really like the color concept, and then the kind of collage as opposed to the minimalism of the front cover. At number 21, it's a band I saw open for Tame Impala earlier this year. It's The Great Pretenders by Mini Mansions. This is some really cool colored vinyl here. Gold, sort of marbled. Probably one of the prettiest label and colored vinyl combinations that I've seen on a record. The other side is similar. Just that contrast of those colors, I think it's beautiful. And then at the show, I was also given this free, with the purchase of the record, this free 7-inch with Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys making an appearance on the song Vertigo. Thought that was a really cool 7-inch to have, especially with Alex. Alright, now breaking into the top 20, it's kind of an idiosyncratic take on dad rock with simple songs from the experimental artist Jim O'Rourke. Although it has this simple charm about it, it's endlessly intricate under the surface. And this coexistence between easy listening and still really complex songwriting is all reflective of his vast experience. I mean, this guy has been around the block musically, from electronica, experimental folk records, to mixing a Joanna Newsom record, possibly my favorite of hers, Wise. He joined and then he left Sonic Youth, so yeah, he's been everywhere. And then up until this, this album's still avant-garde, but something that I would feel comfortable showing the in-laws. Lyrically, Jim tackles some really pedestrian subjects, but all with this hilarious and fresh perspective. Songs like All Your Love and Half-Life Crisis. There's some Steely Dan jazziness here, some George Harrison. It's ornate, it's brilliant, and really there's something for everyone. Alright, now moving from someone with a ton of experience in the industry to a bedroom artist's first release. It's number 19. It's Architect from the Scottish pop artist C. Duncan. It's breathy and swaying and breezy pop, all highlighting Christopher's really choral tenor tone. There's definitely some Fleet Foxes-esque harmonies here. Also some strong elbow and Andrew Bird ties. He Believes in Miracles has got to be one of my favorite songs of the year. It's just one of those songs that when I first heard it, it made me stop everything I was doing and listen to it over and over again, probably 4, 5, 6 times. If you check out one album from this 30 through 15 section, this is the one. Next album is one of the first that I reviewed this year. And another one like that TesseracT album that really grew on me. It's Man. It Feels Like Space Again with the Cheap Thrills kind of knockoff cover by the band Panda from Australia. Next, at number 17, is an album that would typically be categorized as math or post-rock, but you can't nail it down because it's just got everything. And of course, I'm talking about Hear You. Well, probably not of course, because many of you have probably not heard of this album, but it's Hear You by Toe. And on this album, there's the regular Toe minimalistic post-rock, but also some tribal drumming, some rap, an incredible array of electronics, including vibraphone, female and male vocals. The whole thing is just so pleasantly diverse. And the drummer, Kashikura Takashi, has a very precise but also herky-jerky staccato style that I just love. He rips off some of the most insane snare rolls on this album. There's one song in particular, I think it's My Little Wish. Oh my gosh, this guy just steals the show all over this album. Next is an album I also reviewed. It's got some of the best pop and rock songs of the year, of the decade so far. It's number 16. You probably knew by the cover, but it is Tame Impala's Currents. And check out this gatefold, man. Woo! Yeah, that's good. Definitely go back and watch my review for more thoughts, but overall I love the direction that Kevin Parker took this band. My only complaint about the album is that it's lacking a little bit of variation, and the steady kind of disco beat kind of gets old across the entire album. It's one that I'll go back and visit individual songs a lot on, but overall just the whole album didn't flow as well as I thought it could have. I think if they bring back some of the experimental elements of the first record, Inner Speaker, and they combine it with this new synth, pop-driven sound, kind of Bee Gees-esque, they could be definitely my favorite band. They just have this sound that is so good, and their songwriting is kind of modern-day Beatles-ish in the pop quality that's here. I'm going to have my whole list of top 50. I actually did a top 50 list down in the description box below, although I'm not going to give away 15 through 1 just yet. Like this video, please comment and subscribe to my channel. Tell me what your favorite albums of the year are, and yeah, that's it. Alright, hope you watch the next video. Thanks again.